Hey guys, it's your girl, Crystal Nicole. So you guys all know that Megan Thee Stallion took the stand to give her side of the story on what occurred on July 12th, 2020 between her, Tory, and Kelsey. So we're going to get right into Megan's testimony and some of the problems throughout it. So let's go ahead and get started. So right out the gate, we are going to clear up the whole debate on the whole intimacy thing. Megan herself has admitted that her and Tory were in an intimate relationship, and she just didn't want to hurt her best friend's feelings by telling her, and she didn't really want anybody to know, and that's why she lied about it. Now, Megan says that while they were at Kylie's party, her wig started coming loose, and she wanted to go home. So her and Kelsey asked Tory's security to take them, and he said not without Tory. Megan denies that they left and came back for Tory or that Kylie kicked her out of the party. However, in an interview with detectives early on in this case, Megan said that they had left. They had almost made it to her house, and then they came back to get Tory, which is when she made the security go get Tory, bring him out, which made Tory mad because he didn't want to leave the party. So when he got in the car, he says that Megan needed to be honest with her friend about them two smashing, basically, which blindsided Megan because Kelsey didn't know. And she knew that Kelsey had a crush on the defendant, although they never were in a relationship. Now, this is when Megan wanted to get out the car, which she did, as she admitted to detectives early on. She said that she had got out, she had sat down at a bus stop, and she had called her manager to see if they can get someone to come pick her up because she did not want to argue anymore. Then, according to Megan, she realized that she was half naked and she shouldn't be on the streets like that, so she got back in the car. And this is when the argument escalated to their music careers, where Tory got mad because she said that he wasn't ish, basically, which is when she wanted to get out the car again. So she got out, and this is when Tory started allegedly shooting her. So this is when the story starts to get a little bit messy on Megan's end. So I'm going to play a clip from Lawyers for Workers, who was reporting on the second half of Megan's testimony, and then we'll go from there.
That Meg is in the front seat, front passenger, that Kelsey is directly behind Meg, and that Tory is in the rear passenger seat. He got Meg to testify this. Meg gets out of the car. She walks a couple steps to the front of the car by the absolute front, and then she goes a couple steps beyond that. All of this took a couple seconds. Within that time, apparently, Tory Lanez has made it from the rear passenger seat to now being on the passenger side. And from the passenger side, he pulls out a gun. She said he pulled a gun. From where, it's not clear, but he pulled a gun, he points it at her, and shoots 5 times. Right before shooting, he yelled, "Dance bitch," leading her to turn around and then see him with the gun. He pulls it, points, shoots, 5 shots. Where's Kelsey in all this? She has no idea. What does she then do? She then crawls away. The part that the defense attorney focused on is how, in a matter of seconds, does he get from the rear passenger to having a gun in his hand to being on the passenger side in position to shoot over the window at you, all in a matter of seconds. To me, there had to be something else that happened in that sequence of events from the time she got out of the car and the time the shots rang out.
So in case you missed what he was saying, he's basically saying that Tory was sitting in the back seat behind the driver's side of the vehicle. So when Megan got out of the car, she's saying that somehow he managed to get from that side of the vehicle to the side of the vehicle that Kelsey was on. He grabbed the gun, opened Kelsey's door, and basically started shooting her from that side of the vehicle. Now, the issue that we have here is the fact that Megan is testifying that when she got out the car, she started walking towards the front of the vehicle. Yet in interviews with detectives, she stated that she was walking towards the rear of the vehicle. So I don't know how this all would have worked out, and we never heard that, Tory climbed over Kelsey to be able to shoot at Megan. It kind of always came off as if he just opened up his door in the back and started shooting at Megan, but not that he crawled over Kelsey. So according to Millie, this is something that Megan stated, that maybe he crawled over Kelsey to be able to shoot her from the back seat of the car, but while he was doing this, I guess Kelsey wasn't trying to stop him because she never sees Kelsey doing anything at all. So Kelsey wasn't close to the gun at all. So this leaves the question of, well, how did Kelsey get gunshot residue on her? And if Tory climbed over Kelsey or was shooting from Kelsey's side of the vehicle and Kelsey happened to still be sitting in her seat where Tory was shooting from, maybe some blowback got on Kelsey from her just sitting there. But I just don't see how Tory would have been able to just crawl over Kelsey and then come out her door and then just start shooting you. And now we have a different direction of where you were walking when he was shooting you. So was he shooting you over top of the door, or was he shooting you, facing the other way? We just don't know about this one. This is what we're going to have to wait on Kelsey to testify about.
And then she completely denied that there was any sort of altercation between her and Kelsey. As to whether there was an altercation between Kelsey and Tory, and there has to be some altercation because there's a fingernail on the ground. So and Kelsey has blood on her. Kelsey has her swimsuit strap ripped off. So how did that all happen?
So like he said, Megan is denying that any fighting happened between her and Kelsey that night, just like she basically denied that any fighting happened between Tory and Kelsey that night after the shooting. Now, the issue with this is exactly like what he said. The police did find Kelsey's necklace on the ground. Her clothes were ripped. She had blood dripping from her. There was a fingernail that was found on the ground. So clearly something went down with Kelsey, at least that night, because there was evidence of a fight, all on the ground from her and on her. So speaking of that necklace that was found, it brought me back to both Kelsey and Megan's song, where both of them were bringing up this chain that Kelsey supposedly got snatched. Now, I do not know if they were talking about this alleged fight that went down this night, but it did make me go, So let's replay those. In Megan's song, Shots Fired, there was a line in there where she said, "I thought a itch who got her chain snatched caught a loss had something to say." And then Kelsey responded and busted back and said, "I got my chain snatched? Dang, there you go lying." And then at the end, she said, "I thought a itch from Bayard County said something." So clearly they were both speaking to each other, and they both mentioned this whole chain snatch situation. And from what I was told from a friend of mine, that this was because of Megan's friend, which Kelsey is also saying in her song. Megan's friend, one of them, had come out and said something about Kelsey getting her chain snatched. And then Megan repeated it in the song, and then Kelsey responded back to it. So this is really just what made me think, are y'all talking about this chain that was found on the ground after, the so-called shooting on July 12th? Or was this about another chain snatching incident that supposedly happened to Kelsey? I don't know. I just found it interesting. You guys let me know what you think about that. So the defense did have their chance to cross-examine Megan, even though it didn't really seem that way from the second half of her testimony, as a lot of people just kind of seem to only be reporting on all of Megan's emotional testimony, but no real cross-examination that went on with the defense. And then after reading and hearing everything, I see why. Megan pretty much had a loss of memory when it came down to the defense's turn. From what I hear and from what I was told, Megan did a whole bunch of I don't recall throughout most of the defense's questioning of her. She just doesn't remember a lot of the things that she has said, and that's very obvious. So what Megan is doing is trying to make sure she doesn't get caught up in any more inconsistencies, contradictions, lies, whatever. And this is a common tactic for people who are trying to get themselves out of this on the stand, because Megan has already been caught up in way too many lies, inconsistencies, contradictions up into her taking the stand. So if the defense really had a chance to dig at her like that, Megan probably would have left that stand crying. And that's really all I'm going to have to say about that. So let's move on to Kelsey. Now, Kelsey is supposed to have her turn coming up to testify, and this is what everybody has been waiting on, because even though Kelsey has spoken on this, she has and she hasn't really spoken on this. We all know that both Her and Megan released diss track songs to each other, just like Tory and Megan both released songs about each other. Everybody was profiting off of this situation for real. Kelsey has been the only one, though, who has not really given too many details about what went on this night. The most that Kelsey has said regarding her part is that she didn't have the gun. She would never do something like this. However, she was there. And then after this, it seemed like Megan and Kelsey had some type of falling out. Kelsey seemed to be upset that Megan never came out and defended her and said that she did not shoot Megan. Tory was actually the one who came out and said that this was not true, that Kelsey shot Megan, when he saw some people saying it in, I think it was the Shade Room's comments, because this was a while ago. But there was a comment from Tory Lanez where he responded to someone and said that this wasn't true when this person was trying to claim that Kelsey was the one who shot at Megan. So what we do have is just a little bit of information in the song that she released on Megan, where she's basically questioning if Megan even know who shot her. Was Megan lying to her label, which obviously Megan has been lying to her label and everybody else, including us. She basically said that she was going to come out and tell the truth, and then Megan said that she was going to release some type of, X tape on her if she did so. So I don't know how this is going to go for Kelsey on the stand, because it does kind of seem like she I'm not going to say it seems like she chose a side, because again, she never ever has said that Tory didn't do it either. She hasn't. And Kelsey's going to have to explain the text messages that she sent to the security, if she sent this text to security. So I know I brought this up in my last video, and somebody did bring up the fact that this text says 727 because the bodyguard or the security guard was the one who shared it with Gail. It was coming from his phone, and he was on the East Coast, which is 3 hours ahead of time from Cali. So this explains the 7 o'clock time on the text. However, since this text message came so late in the game, it showed up on the Gayle King interview, we never heard about it before, just like we never heard about Tory punching Kelsey before. It just seems kind of suspicious to me, and I'm not sure if Kelsey really was the one who sent this text message, but she may have been. However, that is what the prosecution needs to prove, that this text was definitely sent from Kelsey's phone to security at this time, and she meant what she said. Now, if this really did happen, then Tory is going to have some explaining to do, because Kelsey cannot just explain away a text that says, "Help, Tory shot Meg." She can't. So this is going to be very interesting to hear, and I cannot wait to hear Kelsey's side. And this is probably where I'm going to go ahead and end this video, because we do have more testimony coming out today, and I'm trying to keep these videos short since we're going to constantly have to keep coming back and updating about the testimony. So what I will end this off with is I will say that one of the main issues that I have with Megan's story is the shock she keeps saying that they were all in after the shooting. If Tory intentionally meant to shoot Megan, what the hell was he in any shock for? And he was the one aiming at her feet, trying to get her to dance with actual real bullets. Did he think that they were actually really just like pellet BB bullets that wouldn't really do no harm to her? Or did he think that his aim was just that great, that he really was that shocked when he hit her without meaning to? We have no evidence he offered her or Kelsey money, any evidence that he was begging either of them not to say anything about the shooting. Kelsey denied taking any money and called Megan out for lying to the prosecution about that. So him offering either of them money for silence will also have to be proven. And another thing that makes this whole thing just very iffy is the fact that Kelsey Nicole had gun residue on her. Yet from the testimony that we're hearing, we're not really getting how Kelsey got gun residue on her. So we are still stuck in a place of who shot Megan. I'll see you guys later.